today I was being evicted. What's up? So I'm gonna try to be a little vulnerable with this message, and the point of this message is so that it can produce faith and trust in God in your life. So today I was being evicted. I'm an entrepreneur. Not every month is predictable. And so the last 2 months I've taken a little bit of a hit and got behind on my rent, and the judge ruled for an eviction. And it's been a week. I found out on Saturday I was being evicted. And so on Monday I went up to my leasing office. I want to just share my testimony, something I wrote, because in my journey with God, one of the things I've been asking for is increased faith. And it's funny, and you got to be careful what you ask for. But essentially, I was impressed to write this testimony about God's faithfulness before I received it. So I'm gonna read this. It says, trust in God. There are some things in life that can't be fixed by just throwing money at it, even when you think money is the answer. So for example, this week I was being evicted. Last week, Wednesday, the judge ruled to evict me, but I wasn't notified until last Saturday. And I was told the landlord could evict me at any time this week. So immediately I began asking whoever I could to borrow money to pay my past due rent. I was $9,000 in a hole. None of my friends and family could help me come up with that amount. I sold off my camera gear, and finally I thought I had found a resolution. My dad offered to help pay the difference by putting on a credit card. So I rushed up to the leasing office hoping to make a payment, and they informed me that I could only pay with the cashier's check. I didn't have the cash. My family didn't have the cash, but my dad said he thought he could come up with it if they could just give us a few more days. So I asked the leasing office, I asked my landlord to give me a few more days, but no promises were made. And as I was driving home, I felt God telling me, Charles, only He will get the glory from this. And it was never money that protected you. It was never your parents, your community, or even yourself. It has always been me, or it's always been God. And so what I was encouraged to do was not to pray for the money to pay my rent, but to pray for God to work on the hearts of men to give me more time. And that was something that only God could do. I began to pray that prayer that God would change their minds. He would frustrate their plans so that I could have more time to get the money to pay my rent. And I'm writing this today on Tuesday, but this is in context of yesterday. So on the very next day after I prayed that prayer, not only did they not show up to evict me, but I received all the money needed to pay my rent. And you know what's so amazing about this testimony is that I wrote this before receiving what I asked for in faith. To God be all the glory. So today, on Tuesday at 8:29 a.m., I wrote this testimony. At 8:32 a.m., 3 minutes later after I wrote this and I shared this with my wife, my father called me and said, Charles, I got the money. I got it early. He wasn't expecting it today. He was expecting it later this week. It came in this morning. It was the amount that I needed, the difference I needed to pay my rent. So I rushed up to the leasing office. I got a cashier's check. I paid it. I stopped the eviction, and I get home and the sheriff is at my door ready to evict me. So if I hadn't gotten the money this morning, I would have been evicted. They weren't going to wait. And it's so powerful because that, you know, that saying where it says that He may not come when you want Him, but He'll be there right on time. We serve an on-time God. I know it now today more than I've ever known it. So I'm hoping this testimony produces faith in you, that whatever you're going through, that it may seem like God is not answering your prayer. He's not coming through for you when you want Him to. But if you have faith and you believe in Him and you trust Him with your life, He will be there right on time.